LC Bird is on the clock.
Hey, Coach Johnson. Appreciate y'all waiting it out and going last here. Just give us a little bit of the overview of what you're trying to institute culturally into the program, as well as introducing us to the two guys that you brought with you today.
Well, I'll start with introducing the two young men we got here. We have to my right, Bryson Lewis, who will be at the helm behind the center this year. He's an athlete, but he's going to do the job for us this year at quarterback. Braden Harper will be one of our defensive ends on a very talented defensive line that we'll have this year. So both of them been good for us this offseason as far as leadership and trying to. I said when I first got hired, we're not trying to recreate the wheel, but it's definitely some things that I want to get my own spin on it that I think can help benefit a decent amount of athletes in our program that we get on a consistent basis. So for us this year, like I said, the expectation is to win football games. I think any coach will see and tell you otherwise. It's crazy, but that standard and expectation has been upon Bird football for 20 plus years. So I'm not a very good loser. So I'm always striving to win every game, but one day at a time, 1 week at a time.
Travel on 35, Coach. It's been that long.
Yes, sir.
It's been about 35, 40 years.
Coach, you've been around Bird. You knew as a head coach, but you've played him. You went to the school not far down the road from them. Mm-hmm. What have you learned about the program that you maybe didn't know before you took the job?
I wouldn't say it's too much that I've learned outside of, how things work admin-wise at Bird other than other programs, which has been unique because I've been a part of multiple programs over the last couple of years, so I've kind of gotten in a habit of, I'll say, your first time at this school, so everything is kind of new, but it's really not too new just because I've been there before as a teacher. The principal there now was the principal when I first was at Bird. The AD had just got hired. That was his first year. My first year there, so in a sense, it's kind of been like I'm just coming back to family, but overall, I think the overall landscape of football in this area has, enhanced a lot, so I think that's been the biggest aspect for me is, one, to make sure that we're maximizing these kids' potential in this area, and I think what we're doing right now as far as this media day is not only great for just the 804 in general, but it helps enhance the whole state of Virginia as far as the quality of ball that we have, and it adds a spotlight to programs that may not get that spotlight on a normal basis. So I know that went a little bit off the tag, but it's not too much new. I would say I think coming back to Bird, I feel like my heart never really left Bird when I left the first time. So I've always been keeping up whenever I had a chance to come to practice. When I was coaching at Roanoke, I always came home to recruit LC Bird. Even when I had downtimes to be able to look at some of the games, I'll go look at the games and the kids that I still have a relationship with, try to give them advice when I can. But this feel like home to me.
Looking at your schedule, man, it's the district schedule alone is just tough, and you guys also added Highland Springs to your schedule. I know you said we're winning football games, man, but what's your mindset going into this season when you guys look at the schedule? And I want the players to answer that as well.
Well, my mindset is, I want to play the best. At the end of the season, everybody wants to be playing in December and, have that ring on the end of their finger. But, for me, in order for us to say we're the best team, I want to play some high-level competition. And also for these young men, when it comes to the recruiting process, I want their film to mean something. And I think, obviously, with our district play, that adds to it. But, when you play a team like Highland Springs and Thomasdale, those out-of-district games, it, adds a little bit of quality to the film, depending they're doing well on film. But, I want, for those guys, if they want to play at the next level, I want to make sure that they had the best possible situation to prepare them for the next level once they leave here. And ultimately, like I said, those tough opponents, the schedule is by design. I asked for those games. Obviously, the Dale game is always there, but I asked for that Highland Springs game. I got a great relationship with Coach Johnson. Anybody that know me know that's one of the guys that I lean on. But, at the end of the day, we can shake hands after the game, but the goal is to go in there and win that ball game. The same as him. He's going to go in that ball game with the expectation to win it, but we got to get there by we got to beat Midlow first.
I just wanted to ask for each of the players first. Bryce, I want to start on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, we've all, over the years, thought of Bird as attack on the ground and establish the run. I'm sure y'all still plan on pounding the rock effectively, but how might the offense look different this year with you under center, or kind of a new look on that side of the ball?
So it's definitely going to look very different compared to last year, that we went from the I formation now. We're in the spread, spreading the ball out, trying to move efficient. Not focusing, more focusing on, I say, changing up. I feel like last year it was very predictable. This year, you're not gonna come into the game probably knowing exactly what we're gonna run. So, it's not gonna feel bad.
And then tell us a little bit about the complexion of the defense, y'all's identity on that side of the ball. It feels like Bird's success over recent years has really been built on flying around, creating turnovers, putting pressure in the backfield. What's the complexion of the defense look like?
Yes, sir. Our main goal is to get to the quarterback, obviously, but we definitely going to be the more physical defensive line, more disciplined. That's it.
We're out of time. Did you have a question?
Coach, what is the heading to camp? What's the biggest message that you've had for your team heading to League?
Well, I think one of the most overlooked traits for, young athletes nowadays is, finishing, and we preach finish all the time. Finish and compete. Obviously the wins we want to win football games, but I feel like if you don't compete at a high level, if you don't come to practice ready to work every single day, if you don't come in with a fresh mindset of wanting to get better, wins will be very limited. So, the main thing for us is we want to finish. I watched them last year in games where, sometimes, like you said, the coaches can't do it for you. We can't go out there and play, but, in times of, sometimes when things are going well, you get a little complacent, so the main thing for us is not to get complacent. Obviously everybody knows we have some great talent defensively, but I want those guys to be better. I think we should have had more sacks last year. Obviously we want to score points, but we got a goal as far as, when we get in the red zone. We want to be 100% in the red zone getting points on the board, whether that's field goals or touchdowns, more touchdowns than field goals, but everything is predicated to finishing, and that's off the field too. I tell them in the classroom, finish, compete, because if you're creating a habit of competition all the time, when they get in the real world and they get beyond this, it's second in nature. So, for us to win ball games, we're going to have to compete at a high level every single day, and we're going to have to finish everything.
Well said, Coach. Good
Thank
job.
you very much, Elsie.